welcome everybody from wherever you are to this live session with Andy Mayo. I'm Rebecca, a student from the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, who will be hosting this live stream. How incredible is it that nowadays tech can connect us students from all across the country and even all over the world. This live stream is part of a series of events taking place over the next week, hosted by university Christian unions from all across Scotland. In them, we're looking at the message of hope, a message that we need nowadays more than ever before. So before I ask Andy to join us and share some of his original music with us, I've asked his student Catherine to share how hearing about the Christian faith from events at her uni last year changed her life. Hey Catherine, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing some of your life. Firstly, could you just tell us a wee bit about yourself? What do you study?
So I'm originally from Aberdeen, but I've just spent the last 4 years studying a degree in earth science at Glasgow Uni. So I've finished my last exams last week, and quite interested in the outdoors and stuff, so probably looking for a career in something like that when this is all over, I guess. Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating. So it's so good to have you here with us. Tonight we'll be listening to some music from our guest artist Andy Mayo. You're a musician yourself, am I right? Could you tell us what instruments you play?
Yeah, so I mostly play drums and percussion. I did a lot of kind of bands and groups at school. I did a stint with the concert band at uni as well. But I also play a bit of like guitar and keyboard, and I'm a big fan of like musical theatre and stuff as well. So I've kind of dabbled in quite a few different bits and pieces.
Wow, sounds like you have a lot of experience with music and a big personal connection to that. So I've heard that you've been involved in Glasgow Uni's Christian Union yourself. Am I right in saying that this wasn't always the case? Maybe you could tell us a bit about your first impression of the Christian Union.
Yeah, sure. So I first went along to the Christian Union when I was in second year. So I went along to their events week in February with a couple of friends who I'd met playing tennis at uni. So it turned out they'd all known each other because they were all part of the Christian Union. So I went to events with them, which was really cool. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great kind of group. The people were really nice. The events were good fun, and the talks were really thought provoking. And I think like as a student, when you're at that time of your life, like it's the perfect time to consider, big questions like this because you're making a lot of like decisions
Oh,
about
absolutely.
life and like you're living by yourself for the first time. So yeah, it was a really well tailored event, because it was run by students, aimed at students. So yeah, I was really impressed with it all, and I really really enjoyed it. And that was it. That was the start of it all.
So you mentioned that last year you attended some of Events Week, so you're probably excited to hear that next week Christian unions from all across Scotland are collaborating to put on a virtual Events Week so that people can explore Christianity for themselves. How did the message that you heard at these events change your outlook on life?
It definitely gave me like a lot of hope, and I think it was something that I'd considered for quite a while before coming to uni as well. It was always something that I never disregarded it. Like in terms of my background, I don't come from an atheist background, but I don't come from like a strictly Christian home either. We're kind of a grey area in the middle, I guess. But so it was something I was always open to, and I think having that opportunity at uni to kind of explore it properly and ask lots of questions was really really helpful. So once I kind of got it all, it gave me so much hope, and I think I gained a lot of perspective on lots of different things to do with life. Like a lot of things just started to kind of make sense, and I think it can help you become at peace with a lot of aspects of life, especially with considering like pain and suffering. You can get a lot of comfort from the faith, definitely.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. Next week, the Events Week actually will be on the theme of hope. In circumstances, I think hope is something that a lot of people are seeking. What did you think of the message of hope presented by the Christian faith?
So yeah, I think it's an amazing message when it hits you. Like it's a really powerful message because
Mm.
hope that it presents is like a hope that can't be shaken. You know, it stood the test of time, and it always will because um because of what Jesus did. And when you understand that like God's grace is unending and it's purely by what he has done, um yeah, it's quite amazing. It just makes you think that I'm so free to live my life because of the grace and the forgiveness that God has given us through Jesus. The fact that He sacrificed Himself in our place so that not even death can hold us it's quite amazing, really.
Wow, that's so great. And how would you say that it's impacted your life since then?
Um, so yeah, I think it's just given me a lot of freedom, really. I think knowing that even though I do things wrong in my life, and we all do, you know, we're human. But the fact that we can have forgiveness from God, and because Jesus came for everyone, you know, regardless of who you are and what you've done, um, it just really, yeah, it gives you so much hope and gives you freedom to live your life knowing that they've got you, you know, and everything will be fine in the end.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that again, Catherine. It's incredible to hear some of your story. I hope that you enjoy all the events that we have on next week. I hope that you enjoy the rest of this session. And now, I guess we'll introduce Andy Mayo, our guest artist of the night. Hey, Andy, it's so good to have you here with us. We're so excited to hear your music. But before you start, could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yep, love to. So I'm talking to you from a little place called Caterham, a bit south of London. I'm married to a girl called Faye, who's an artist, and actually through my window I can see the studio where she makes sculpture each day. But we both love Scotland. We were in Glasgow a few weeks ago for a wedding, just before all the lockdown kicked in, and we even came to Scotland for our honeymoon. So it's lovely to be through this portal now, back in Scotland with you this art right now.
Oh, that's so lovely. You sound like a very creative duo. So, what space are you recording from at the moment?
Yeah, so we've got this kind of old-fashioned garden that's a bit longer, and so we've put in this. It looks like a railway carriage, and so this is only tiny. It's like 3 meters by 2 meters. We've managed to record a string quartet in here once, even though it's so small. But yeah, today, it's only me sitting in here, and so recording from the railway carriage studio.
Oh, that's amazing. I myself have played in many string quartets, and I know how much space we take up with bows and everything. So that sounds like quite the challenge. Could you tell us a bit about how you became a musician and your journey with that?
Yeah, sure. So I lived actually in a big community when I was growing up. So my parents, they're quite creative people, and they ran this kind of youth centre, and we lived in this little flat there. And so there was always tens, dozens of people around, sometimes over 100, just kind of coming through the place. And I was the little kid, and there was all these kind of older teenagers around me, and at the time loads of them played the guitar, and they kind of thought it was exciting to try and get this little kid playing. So that's how I started learning, really. And then since then I've just kept finding friends who've shown me a bit more. I started writing songs when I was at school for my friends, and I've carried on writing songs right up till today.
Oh, that's amazing. What do you draw inspiration from to write your music?
Yeah. Well, I think so. Every day, a lot of the time, everyday life, things that are just ticking on, going on by. But also, I've had some pretty pretty profound things happen that I've almost processed through writing songs, or other times I see other people struggling with questions, or and I write a song for them, and sometimes I find it hard to explain things in a conversation, but I find it easier to write a song. So that's a lot of that are all elements of inspiration for my songs. Yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing. Well, I'm so excited to hear your music. So if you want to go ahead and share some of your
I'd
talent
love,
with us.
I'd love to share a song or two. Well, this song is a song that I haven't sung at all during lockdown. Actually, the reason is that the theme, superficially, it sounds like one that's inappropriate for this moment. It's called "Dreams of a Homecoming." But I was reading the news this morning, and it was talking about how so many people are living together, who kind of, you know, we're looking forward to get together and be together, perhaps have some time with each other. People, you know, they're all kind of getting on each other's nerves, you know, and people are thinking, well, maybe this isn't where I belong. Maybe I belong somewhere else. You know, maybe that's your experience, you know, over these last few weeks. And you're thinking, well, the next place, the next relationship, the next story, that's going to be where I really belong. I've just got to keep looking. But before lockdown, I think lots of us were feeling like that and looking for the next place, looking where we belong, looking where would we really find peace. And I used to spend quite a lot of time travelling. I still do, really. And I wrote this song just thinking about those questions of where do we really belong, and where can we find peace, and where can we find, well, what is it that we're even looking for? So this song, "Dreams of a Homecoming." And he dreams of a homecoming. He dreams of a belonging. And he dreams of. He dreams of peace. He dreams of a homecoming. He dreams of a belonging, and he dreams of, he dreams of peace. And home swells his heart, brings tears to his eyes, and he can almost picture it now. But he's looking for the next boat time, he's asking for the next train line. And he dreams of a homecoming, yeah, he dreams of a belonging, and he dreams of hope, he dreams of peace. And every road, every step, and every hitchhike ride, every touching conversation, every next bus station, every new situation. And he dreams of a homecoming, he dreams of a belonging, and he dreams of hope, he dreams of peace. Yeah, he dreams of a homecoming. He dreams of a belonging, and he dreams of hope. He dreams of, yeah. And somehow he feels that this is not the place as he stares into another stranger's face. But he's asking for directions, and he's asking for suggestions, he's asking for acceptance. And he dreams of a homecoming, he dreams of a belonging, and he dreams of hope. He dreams of, yeah, he dreams of a homecoming, he dreams of a belonging, and he dreams of, yeah, he dreams of peace. Well, that song, I don't know if you kind of know what that feels like, of just looking for the next place, or just feeling like you're not quite in the place where you belong yet, and you're still looking, you're still searching. For a while, I lived in a place that was in the middle of a civil war, and I kept meeting people. Faye was with me too, and we kept sharing our lives with people who were thinking, you know, that they'd lost everything, they'd lost home, and they were searching for the place where they belonged. And I thought that that was something that was kind of exclusive to over there, to a war zone. But then when we moved back to England and back down to here, we started looking and getting to know people and realising that, you know, you're riding on a train, your mate in the next room, you know, in fact, all of us, you know, we're questioning, where is it that I really belong? You know, what is it that's going to make me me? How am I going to find what life's really all about? I'm really excited to be a little part of this big series of events that are being put on in Scotland. And it's brilliant that you're talking about these biggest themes and thinking about these things together. And I'd really say this is going to be a series of events worth plugging into. You know, I wrote this next song. I wrote it in Cornwall, actually, but it was one of those days when I had a bit of space. And I was thinking back, and I was remembering something that happened in history, that actually this thing way back in history really impacted and changed my story, my own story. It's a song that is taken from an ancient piece of poetry. It was written in another language. I was reading it in our language, but it was speaking about a place where this shroud that covers every nation, there was going to be a place where this would be taken away, and where the disgrace and the kind of burden that perhaps causes me in the past to look for somewhere else to belong, well, where that would be taken away. And it's describing a hill. And as you hear this song from this ancient piece of poetry scanned to fit into our language, it's actually describing a moment in history when Jesus, he dies. And it reaching back into this old piece of poetry, it's reflecting on this moment. So see what you make of it. It's called simply A Hill. There's a hill outside a city. It's a place for losers, waste and dirt. It's a place of execution, of misery, pain and retribution. There's a hill now with a cross raised, a hill where men cry out. Hear shouts of condemnation, of agitated satisfaction, as an anguished figure gasps. And it's a hill of bones and skulls and death and blood. Yeah, it's a hill of bones and skulls and death and blood. Now from the hill-piercing last words, they ring like Father, forgive. It is finished, God's gathering darkness and rocks, and tombs begin to shake. And it's a hill of bones and skulls and death and blood. Yeah, it's a hill of bones and skulls and death and blood. But it's a hill of broken curses. It's a hill of bittersweet. It's a hill of liberation, a hill where grace takes her seat. Yeah, a hill where grace takes her seat. 'Cause on this hill the Lord Almighty, He prepares a banquet feast. Aged wine, rich food of celebration, 'cause on this hill He removed the shroud that covers every nation. Yes, on this hill He swallowed up death forever. And on this hill He'll wipe each tear-stained eye. 'Cause on this hill He removed the disgrace of His people. Yeah, He removed the disgrace that's yours and that's mine. And it's a hill of bones and skulls, death and blood. Yeah, it's a hill of bones and skulls and death and blood. But it's a hill of broken curses. It's a hill of bittersweet. It's a hill of liberation, a hill where grace takes her seat. Yeah, it's a hill of broken curses. It's a hill of bittersweet. It's a hill of liberation, a hill where grace takes a seat. A hill where grace takes a seat. Yeah, a hill where grace takes a seat. Well, thanks for letting me share a few songs with you. I'm just going to sing you one more before we hand back to Rebecca. And so that song, it speaks about a moment in history, and it was written before this moment happened. And this moment in history that it was projecting towards is the moment when Jesus dies on a cross. And you might say, well, you said that's got something to do with your life. How's that made any difference? And, well, it's kind of, that song is about it. You see, there was a point in my life where I realised that the place I really belong, the place of homecoming, the place of peace, is in connection with the God who is there and who even loves us. But I thought, well, there's no way that I could ever connect with Him until I heard about what happened on that hill, that God comes and he dies on a cross instead of me, so that I could experience forgiveness and liberation, like a swap. He takes my place and lets me have this relationship that I don't deserve. There's an old building of just a few hundred meters from where I'm sitting to talk to you, and it's an ancient kind of place of worship, and it's beautiful. But inside there's this old, hundreds of year old painting, and on it it's a ladder. Really, the central picture is a ladder, and there's got these people who are climbing up it. They're desperately hanging on the rungs and trying to get up. And there's us, the world down here, and then there's all these people trying to get this ladder up towards God. And as a little boy, I used to have to sit in front of this painting, and look at it, and I felt like, who could ever get up that ladder? Nobody could get up that ladder. But then the message that I'm realising that's at the heart of the message of Jesus is that He doesn't wait for people to get up the ladder. Nobody could get up the ladder if there was a ladder. He's come to us. He's come down towards us. And in this last song, I wanted to quote actually something that Jesus said, and He invites people to Himself. Let me read you these words. One amazing thing you could do in a moment of lockdown like this is to spend a bit of time reading one of the biographies of Jesus's life. I'm reading from one called Matthew. It's because it's written by a bloke called Matthew, but there's others too, all found in the New Testament. And in here, Jesus says this, and I think he's looking towards me, and he's looking towards you as he says it. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. It's beautiful, isn't it? You know, if this is true, then it's really worth investigating further. Well, worth investigating further to test, is it true? And then if it's true, then this kind of turn around towards a God who has his arms held open is the most liberating move I think anyone could ever make. For you, if you're a guitarist, I've been experimenting with these little half capos. So this song's written with a half capo and then a drop D. So I just make sure that's dropping down to the right place. It just makes the guitar sound kind of fatter. Great. There we go. Well, thank you that we could share these few songs and this time together. And looking forward to hear about the rest of the week. This is just the taster, the starter. But this song, I wrote it to a friend actually. We'd been talking about the kind of things we've been talking about this moment now. And she was saying, well, look, if this is true, this is massive. If it's not true, it's pretty dangerous. And so she went away really saying, I'm going to go and look at this some more and try and really check this out. And as she went away to check this out, you know, I wrote this song. But the chorus are those words of Jesus. May you know the truth and may you let him set you free. May you find the one you see. May you hear his voice whisper out, whisper words of peace. May you see his hands and his pierced feet. May you see the thorns and weep. May you hear his cry echo out, echo, it's complete. Come to me, all you weary and burdened. Take my yoke and learn from me. For I am humble and gentle of heart, and you'll find rest, rest for your soul. You'll find rest, rest for your soul. You'll find rest for your soul. May you see the truth in the morning light. May you see it gaping wide. May you hear the news ringing out, ringing, he's alive. Come to me, are you weary and burdened? Take my yoke and learn from me, for I am humble and gentle of heart, and you'll find rest, rest for your soul. You'll find rest, rest for your soul. You'll find rest for your soul. You'll find rest for your soul. Well, thank you. It's lovely to share this time with you, and looking forward to hearing about the rest of this amazing program you've got set up. So, Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Andy, for sharing that music with us and just for joining us this evening. It's been a massive pleasure to listen to you and just to meet you and hear a bit about your life. I found most incredible just hearing about what inspired you to write each piece and what messages you were intending to convey with each song, and I'll definitely be thinking about that later. I hope that everyone watching enjoyed that as much as I did. If you'd like to check out more of Andy's great music, I will be sharing links both to his Facebook page and to his webpage, so do check that out. On another note, as I mentioned before, this event is part of a week of events put on by Christian unions across Scotland. The main theme for the week is hope, but there will be other events talking about other topics such as justice, relationships, pain, hope, or isolation. We'll start in the format of talks with opportunities to ask questions and discuss with others, so please do come along to each. They will be streamed each evening of the next week. All of them are on this Facebook page, so do share with friends and make sure to stay posted. Thank you again for joining for this evening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you all very much for joining us live here tonight. Do check out the rest of the week's events. They are cycling on the screen. Have a fantastic week and stay safe.